Good morning, good evening, everyone. Today we have our math student, Dr. Jayadev Sajja. He has a very unique story. He managed to compress everything in 6 months. So we thought it'll be very interesting to hear the challenges he had, how he overcame, and probably some time management tips to all the USMLE aspirants. So, welcome, Jayadev. How are you?
I'm good, sir. I'm doing well. How are you?
Good, good. Thank you, Jayadev. So before we start, give us a bit of a background. Year of graduation. I know you did home country residency. So just walk us through your profile a bit.
Sure. So I finished my MBBS from India in the year of 2017. That's when I graduated. And soon after that, I went on to do my residency in internal medicine from Manipal University. And I finished that in 2021. And I practiced for a couple of months in India. And then in April of last year is when I decided to, start giving my steps and pursue this journey.
Okay. So so let's get our audience a timeline. You decided in April of 2022 that you want to do USMLE and you
Yeah.
matched. Basically, you applied in 6 months with both exams.
Yep.
You put in your application, you got the interviews, you did some research, USC squeezed everything, and there you are matched.
Yeah.
So, so walk us through this timeline. So, just starting last April.
Yeah, firstly, I would like to say that I would not recommend this to anybody. Do not try this. I mean, obviously you can do it if you really want to. But then also like to start by saying I had a background of post graduation in internal medicine, very fresh off of my PG exams. So I did a lot of background studying continuously. I was decent with basics, so that really helped me at least with my USMLE exams. So yeah, April was when I should say I really started doing my UWorld and all the practice questions. And also what definitely helped was that step one was pass or fail. But I did not take it lightly. I only gave it once I started hitting, really good scores on my NBMEs and UW essays. So May 17th was when I gave my step one. And but yeah, I was just looking at the timeline, and at a point I was almost like, no, this is not possible. And like, why am I doing this to myself? I just thought I'll probably apply next year. But also at the back of my head, I always had this feeling that I already spent an extra 3 years, doing residency. And I thought like, if it's possible, then let me just give a try and see how it goes. Like I can always decide not to apply like within a few hours. So
Okay.
that's always what happened. And
So step one, more or less, you got done in a month and a half, more or less.
yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then from middle of May, you started preparing for CK.
Yes.
Okay.
So
And yeah, talk about that.
yeah. So what yeah, I knew that I had to get some USC once I started preparing my step two. The only way for me to do it was to prepare for step two CK and do USC simultaneously. So I actually started observing at a local clinic. I was living in Dallas. I mean, I'm still living in Dallas, but about to move. Yeah. So at this point, I started observing, and I was doing my step two preparation. And this is around the time when I also got to know about USMLE Sarthi through a friend. And I think that's when I spoke to you first. And so what really helped me was that you kind of gave me like a checklist of things that I had to do in order to like, give a complete application, or at least a near complete application, I would say. To be able to attempt this. So I kept those in mind. I just made a few deadlines for me to finish, my exam by August, and try to squeeze in as much as USC. At this point, I was almost also looking at doing tele rotations, because I know that tele rotations are not probably recommended if you can do in person. But if you can't, then that gives you some good credible LORs and good credible look into the system of how things run in the United States. I think yeah, that's how I started this journey. And what really helped was, I think, Matchflix. I also could like see what everybody what faculty was kind of recommending. Like they had some deadlines which we had to keep to, like, do your ERA CV by so and so date, do your personal statement by so and so date. So I kind of divided my day into like bits. Like I thought like 12 hours in a day was my productive time that I could use. So I divided like it into 8 hours where I would spend studying, and then 2 hours I would spend on my PS or ERA CV, and the rest of the 2 hours I would try to like research programs and try to just reevaluate like almost every day and things like that.
So Matchflix is our collection of classes. That's what you meant, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So because the external audience may not know what it is. Okay. So you were doing all this, and then came the September 27th deadline or September 28th. So when did you get your CK done, and when did you kind of get other things done?
Yeah. So yeah, coming to that part. Once I spoke to you, I knew that I had to get some good USC. So my initial plan was to get my CK done by August, and at least do another month of USC in September, and apply. The deadline was September 28th for applications. But unfortunately, I was not happy with my scores towards the end. So I just thought a few extra days could really help. I ended up giving my Step 2 CK on September 27th. But I knew that I would not be able to do good in-person rotation. So what I did was, I think I again spoke to you about it, and you suggested tele-rotations. So I did 1 month of tele-rotations while studying for my Step 2 CK, like in September. That was when I did my tele-rotation. And I gave my Step 2 CK on 27th, and all night I sat through and applied after my exam. But still, I applied on 28th, but I didn't have my score by then. I didn't have all my LORs uploaded because I just finished my tele rotations. It takes a couple of days for them to upload it. But they did upload on time, like within 3 or 4 days. My LORs were ready. I used like 2 tele rotation LORs, one from the observership I did at a clinic close by, and one from my program director of my home country residency. So that's the story till then.
Okay, so then you applied. Then walk us through. You did some more rotations. You did research even after September, and you started preparing for the interviews.
Yes. So the other aspects was that I still had to do some in-person rotations. So we spoke again, and then I decided to do a rotation with Sarthi, one of your recommended rotations. And I did about 2 months of in-person rotations, and also research. So something I kind of forgot was that I also squeezed in research, I think in the month of August. That was something again with Sarthi, and I think 2 of those papers they got published actually 2 months back. But even though they're not published, the fact that you submitted few papers in US journals also carries a lot of weight. It shows a lot of intent from the student applying. At least program directors view that as a positive sign, in my opinion. They feel that, okay, this guy is interested in doing research. I think, after undergrad, I think after your graduation, a lot of people don't have the opportunity to do like really good research, but most people just see the intent and willingness to spend time doing that. So I feel like that was the maximum I could do within my short timeline. And the good part is I could get like meaningful papers out with the rest of the group.
Okay, good. And then of course was the interview time. So did you have to chase the programs to report that my CK is out? So talk to us about post-application stuff that.
Yes. Yeah, I would call it like the second half of the saga. So, till the exam's done, yeah, you're worried about the exam, but once that's done, it's a whole new ball game. You need to, so if you actually have time, between your exams and your rotations, I would recommend that you start program outreach early in the season, like much before the application deadline. I think all of these you learn actually from the videos that Sarthi provides. A lot of really good videos that, which traditionally you would get such information only if you knew people who went through this journey, your seniors or like your peers who'd already done this. But just having all of these on the platform makes it really easy for the candidate. At least I'm speaking out of my own experience. It really saved a lot of time. I didn't have to just call like a million people to like find out what to do when, or like how do I do outreach. You have that resource in front of you, and it's up to us to like really utilize it and how efficiently we utilize it as well. So the biggest thing was I didn't have any interviews, obviously, because I didn't have a score. And so I knew that I had to do program outreach. That also when I actually did a profile review with one of the mentors from Sarthi, and I felt like the way I reached out to programs and the frequency and the amount of effort I put in towards that really changed after that profile review I did with the mentor. So till the end of in October and towards the end of October, I had like zero interviews, no interviews. Once I started doing aggressive program outreach, within the next 3 months, I ended up with 9 interviews. I know that people do end up with a lot of interviews, but I really felt that with my application, with that timeline, and with like a score coming in that late, I was kind of happy with the amount of interviews I got. So I will definitely say that doing aggressive program outreach before the application deadline and after the application deadline are very, very important. Especially, targeted program outreach, as you could say. You should also know what kind of programs you want to spend your time trying to communicate with, and try to match your profile with the profile of their existing residents. So you kind of know that they're interested in people with these kind of profiles. Just trying to like play with odds at that point.
Yeah. No. That's very interesting how you strategize this entire journey in about 6 to 9 months. And then did you have enough time to prepare for the interviews?
Yeah. So I would have loved to have 2 or 3 months to prepare for my interviews. I'm sure I could have come up with like better answers and like better be much more confident when I'm talking to faculty while interviewing. And but if you do not have the time, and when you have a time crunch like I did, just spending like what I did was I just spent like few days, like I had like 4 or 5 days between my first interview and my rotations, and from when my rotations ended. So I didn't have a lot of time during the rotation to do a lot of studying, but I think I spent 3 or 4 days just watching videos on the Sarthi portal, and making answers and framing answers for all of those. I also did a mock interview, which was very, very helpful, because till then I thought I was decently prepared, but once I did the mock interview, I kind of knew that I had a lot of things where I had to improve on. So that kind of really helped to also, in a way, gauge what the interviewers are gonna expect, or like what they would. So it's all about you telling them what they want to hear, or what they would like to hear. So you need to spend some considerable amount of time, get obviously not making up stuff, but getting things out of your own experience and your own time at clinics and at the hospital, your own time with patients. There are a lot of relevant experiences, but you might not just remember them in a day or in like a few hours. You have to spend a lot of time introspecting and like really thinking about these things. So I think there was no way I could have known how to answer these things if I hadn't watched these videos, if I hadn't watched these discussions about, certain important questions that are asked in the interviews or the topics that you have to concentrate on.
A very interesting roller coaster that you went through in the last, I would say, 9 to 10 months. So as we wrap up, um, if you look back and now if you have to advise other students on your top 5 learnings or whatever the top tips, what would those be? How would you recommend they go about it for the entire
So
highlights?
yeah, so I know my situation was very different, so I'll try to put it best for someone who's in medical school and who has the time to like really strategize and prepare for USMLE. So I would say foremost, exams and scores are really, really important. So try doing your best in these exams. Try finishing them before medical school if you can. That's usually the best way to do it, because program directors love applications which are just fresh off medical school. I think those applications have the best chances to be, to be selected in a university program or in like really good programs. And also at the same time, you need to know what the application's all about, what are the different components of the application, and what are the different ways you have to build your profile. It involves different things. It involves volunteer experiences. It involves research. You need to have good scores. You need to have good letters of recommendation. So just to get a feel of this and to understand what each of these components really needs, I would definitely say that if I had something like Sarthi back when I was in medical school, I would have been really happy, because back in medical school there was nothing we knew about USMLE. The little information we got was from people who had already done USMLE, our seniors or our peers. So use the enormous amount of information available, and try to get in good rotations at good hospitals. And I think what I find with most of the people are they're very shy of writing an email. I think that's something which you have to do. I think I sent out during my months of program outreach after the applications, I think I sent out at least 3,000 to 4,000 emails. Yeah, that's literally what I did. And you have to do this. You have to do this from the time you're looking for rotations, for research. You have to do it for program outreach. There's no easy way around it. I mean, you have to be willing to spend that amount of time. So I think, yeah, learning about the process is the biggest step to, be able to successfully complete the whole journey.
Wow. This is very, very impressive, Jayadev. Amazing and very useful tips for the students. And well, hopefully it helps other applicants. So thank you very much for your time and good luck for your residency.
Thank you. Thank you so much.